Another disturbing story out of an elementary school in Oregon. Oregon, gosh, that place. There are a lot of stories coming out of Oregon. Fourth graders at Raleigh Hills Elementary School, located in Beaverton, Oregon, were just presented with a slideshow a couple of weeks ago. Daily Wire just learned this, unveiling the formation of a QSA club. That's Queer Sexuality Alliance, or something to that effect. So there's an LGBT club for fourth graders in this school. And the LGBT club is recruiting the students, and it's being presented to the students, and the parents have no idea. There is no parental consent required. One of the slides from this club, it says, what will we do? We'll have conversations about identity, gender, equal rights, and social issues that are important to you. We'll explore LGBTQ+ history and activism. We will discuss personal struggles. Now we're getting real creepy. We're gonna groom you kids, is what they're implying. We're going to discuss personal struggles and successes in a supportive space. We're going to advocate for change in our school and community. Well, we're going to advocate for change? Changing what? We're going to talk about your personal struggles in the sexuality club for 9-year-olds? What personal struggles? If you were having personal struggles in your sexual relationships at 9, you should be recommended to a school counselor. This should be discouraged. 9-year-olds shouldn't be doing that. But instead it's being encouraged, and the parents have no right to say anything about it. And frankly, by the logic of our culture right now, by the logic of all cultures and societies, given the premises we're starting with, there's actually no reason for the parents to be involved. This is something that conservatives don't quite understand about. There's really no reason for the conservatives to be involved if you accept all the radical premises to begin with. So these creepy, pervert, degenerate administrators at an elementary school in Oregon are recruiting their 9-year-old kids to join LGBTQ club and convince little Johnny that he's really little Jane. This is obviously very creepy, very wrong. The people who are pushing this should certainly be fired, if not prosecuted. And the part that everyone's focusing on is that the parents weren't even informed. The parents were, that's the worst part of this. I understand why people are focusing on parental consent because not only the left, but also the right now believes that consent is the be-all and end-all of politics. And there's nothing deeper that we can talk about. It's all just about procedure. Well, we all just need to consent. And if you want to consent to mutilate your body or do a ton of drugs or whatever, that's totally fine. But you've got to make sure that you get consent. All they care about is procedural norms. You see this even in some pro-life advocacy, where they say, look, I'm not telling New Yorkers and Californians that they need to ban abortion. I'm just saying the Supreme Court has no right to do it. So we've got to send it back to the states. And then if the people want to kill a zillion babies a year in Illinois, that's totally fine. But it's not totally fine. The procedure matters, it's true. The court shouldn't take rights away from the states and from the people. But the substance matters too. We also shouldn't kill babies. Yes, the procedure matters. Parents should have a say over their kids' education, obviously. Parents should have some say in how their kids are raised. But the substance matters too. Namely, we shouldn't be teaching kids gender theory when they're 9 years old, pretending that all sorts of eccentric sexual ideologies are totally fine. Probably the only sexual ideology that you're not allowed to teach in this elementary school is that men are not women and men should marry women and they should live in a monogamous household for life and have a family and procreate. That, I bet you would be taken to court if you taught that in this school, but you can teach everything else. Why? The reason for this, it actually makes perfect sense, is that while we often think that our substantive views are downstream of procedural norms, very often it's the opposite. I'm using sort of technical language here. So what I mean by that is we think that the things we actually believe about what is good and true and beautiful come downstream of how we come to decide them. Is it the court? Is it we the people? Is it the teachers? Is it the PTA? We all come together and we deliberate and then we form our substantive views out of that. But very often It's the opposite. Very often it's the things that we think are good and true and beautiful that decide how we decide other questions. So our culture has decided that LGBTQ plus, there are now 5,000 other letters to it, is good, true, and completely beyond debate. Not even just that, two fellas like each other on a Navy ship out at sea and, that's one thing. No, we're saying that even the T, okay, we're talking about boys can chop up their bodies and pump themselves full of hormones and actually become women. That in our culture is considered unassailable. If you question that in your job, in your school, you can be kicked out. You can be kicked out of both of those places. You can certainly be punished. And depending on how you do it, you might even be charged with a crime. There was a bill in California signed into law in 2017 that said that if healthcare workers misgender, quote unquote, their patients, they could be prosecuted. Misgender meaning properly gender, meaning there's a man who thinks he's a woman and the healthcare worker says, "Hello, sir." That healthcare worker could be prosecuted according to the law. Now, it's been extremely controversial since it was passed, but we have decided that that is the case. So, of course, if LGBTQ is totally fine and unassailable and beyond reproach and beyond debate, then why would you need the parents' permission? Why would you allow some bigoted, hateful, false-minded parent to question something that we as a culture have decided is unquestionable? We've concluded the substantive issue. And so the procedure is going to change. Whereas 10 years ago, you would have needed at least to get a parent's permission slip for a club like this. Probably you wouldn't even have a club like this. Today, that's been decided. We live in a society. The only way to have a society is for certain things to be settled. We need to speak the same language. We need to believe many if not most of the same things. We need to have plenty of areas of the public discourse where you just take everything for granted. That's how all societies work. And the left understands this, which is how they've completely transformed what we believe. And the right refuses to understand this, and they bury their head in the sands. And they say, well, I'm not going to force my opinions on you. You do you and I'll do me, and I just support individual freedom. And it's not really freedom at all. It just gives the left the whole playing ground. Do you not get enough respect? I'll tell you, me, I get no respect. No respect, I tell you. Well, that was true before I became a lord. That's right, I am Lord Michael Knowles. I can prove it. I've got my certificate from Established Titles, which is a terrific way to play on an old Scottish custom to refer to landowners as lairds, or lords and ladies in English. With Established Titles, you will get your title pack. You will receive at least 1 square foot of dedicated land on a private estate and an official certificate with a crest. With your certificate, you can officially change your name to Lord or Lady. You can get it on your credit card or airplane tickets. You can put it on your dating profiles. It's a great way to connect with your family if you happen to be Scottish. It's a great way to get some respect if you're like me, and it helps to preserve nature because Established Titles has partnered with a lot of really great conservation charities, so you're helping the planet while you do it. They're having an extended New Year sale right now. Head on over to establishedtitles.com/Knowles. Save 10% off today. Remember to use the discount code Knowles, Knowles, or just click the link below. That is establishedtitles.com/Knowles. We should change that URL though. It should be /Lord Knowles. I'll talk to Established Titles. Head on over there, become a lord or a lady yourself. I'm so glad you liked that clip. That makes me feel great that you liked it, you watched it. Now, I hope you clicked the like button. I hope you maybe left me a comment, but what I really hope is you ring the bell. That way you'll get the notifications. We can be together again. And even if we don't get the notifications, for whatever reason, YouTube, you can head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you get your audio podcasts. Subscribe, leave a 5-star review. The Michael Knowles Show. We'll see you next time.